Hi, I want to talk about some ideas in cosmology or quantum physics and draw some conclusions that might be philosophical. Some of it has some mathematics in it. Actually, when quantum physics was being developed, one of the pioneers was Schrödinger, and he developed black body radiation uh, formulas, which were a precursor to other theories and concepts about light, photons, and how they come in packets of energy. He first had to do experiments to measure the different bands of energy, how a black body would emit photons or energy. And after he did that, he went to it wasn't conforming to the usual formulas that were derived from Newtonian physics. So he had to go dig into the um, books that have just a whole bunch of formulas, math formulas, probability formulas. They're just like pre-cut cookies. He had all these formulas written that he was searching into, and finally he came out with a few formulas that, or one formula that described the black body radiation, and also which was also a foundation for further theories. But this is really the flow of things. Uh, what happens is that the scientists or or philosophers or psychics, they observe something that actually happens, that uh, that there is no formula in the past, nothing explains this phenomena, and then they dig around, try to find a formula or a philosophy or an outlook that fits this recipe, fits this observation. Uh, for example, this also happens in other areas or fields. Uh, I have many spiritual experiences. I will tell you one or two that I, I often get out of this dreamy state that I have. This happened. I just wonder to myself, where the hell did this come from? There's no precursor. Um, there is no rational explanation. Nothing in my past or even in the future that is explains this. For example, I've had many experiences in dream state or in a regular that points that, hey, might have had past lives. For example, I've had many dreams that in these dreams I'm like this guy. He's like a geologist. He's a mining engineer. I keep going from mining site, checking out the stones, doing assaying work, breaking stuff, looking into them, digging holes, going into caves. Uh, well, when I was younger, I was a kid. I had all these dreams that I'm digging all these tunnels. Some of the tunnels I was storing silver, and some I was turning them into storage facilities, and then I was I have these dreams, and this is not the only genre I have. There's many more, and there's not enough time to go through them. But it seems that my body is in the material world, my head is actually in several universes, and all this stuff is happening. And sometimes I get glimpses of these other universes, and well, the that's where I am, similar to where Schrödinger was. That we just digging into all these math formula books, trying to find the formula that explains the experimental results. But even when he had found the right formula, which is a probabilistic formula, he did not believe what he had found, or what it really meant, what was this thing it really means, because it was something that happened in experimental stage, then it went on into theoretical stage. And sometimes a lot of scientists, they start from the theoretical, and they do experiment to validate the theory, but many times also the theory doesn't evolve. It evolves out of desperation to explain these events that has already happened, that there is no explanation for it. Well, I want to go into a concept. It's called the concurrency, which means that uh, I believe that everything that has happened from the creation of the universe all up to this now, and all the future that the universe has, is like a movie that has was made. It's already all this information to the minutest detail is already been created. Well, actually, in creation stories in uh, Islamic cosmology, says that God created every creature and the whole world in one shot. That then everything looks like it's evolving, going from time to time, but it really isn't evolving. It's like a movie. It was made, but in Sufi theology, it says that nothing happens in the world that God hasn't already ordained it. Well, jumping to sci-fi, I was watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. They have a simulator. It's like a futuristic device that can generate any reality, the whole the minutest detail, and well, when you are in the simulator, everything seems like it's happening in a time sequence, whereas it is not really true. You know that a computer generated it. But what's interesting about these all this phenomena is that, and also about Islamic theology, says that God created everything in one shot. It's similar to the difference between Turing kind of computer, Alan Turing computer that's sequential, versus a computer that's a quantum computer and does every calculation, all the calculations concurrently. That's why I use the word concurrency and event horizon, which means that our 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 science has brought us to the point that we know that we are nothing but the surface of a event horizon of a black hole, a massive black hole that gave rise to our universe. And but from what we can see, uh, this this event horizon is actually the computer, or is the memory part of the computer that's generating our reality. And from it feels that way. It feels that this is a more of a quantum computer, which means it has generated all the calculations that are possible uh, from eons ago at its inception. It's a intelligent computer, but it's more like a quantum computer because it has generated all the realities concurrently. They all exist in the same time. There is actually no time. Is timeless, but we experience it as something that there is a flow of time. But everything that exists, just like in the simulator in a Star Trek Next Generation, it it has all been said and done and generated, and it all exists as some kind of information on the event horizon of this black hole we call our universe. But then going back to the Alan Turing, the mathematician Alan Turing was investigating computation, and prior to his time, there were calculators. Like there was a mechanical calculator, which was actually very advanced, made by Babbage's. But prior to that, Euler had the mechanical calculator, and I think Leibniz has a simpler version, and they had also come up with slide rule, slide rules that they could calculate with the slide rule all the logarithms and other operations like sine or cosine. And when Alan Turing was investigating computation, his device was extremely simple, but the operator had to do many calculations. It was a simple device, but it was not something that was practical because the number of calculations was very repetitive. While he was using a binary system, and imagine you have a strip of paper that extends like a printer paper from a regular calculator, and it extends all the way to eternity, and there is a band which is like ticking of a time clock, and this is the band is actually where the current operation is being done. But this is not the same thing as a quantum computer, because a quantum computer does all the operations in the same time. In this one band is all the operations, whereas his computer, which was a binary, uh, the operator had to look at the previous cycle of the previous band. For example, if you wanted to add one and one together, he had to punch a hole in a appropriate area, and then would get a result. Uh, then the band would move on, which was a kind of algorithmic kind of computer. And this is actually the basis of all computers at our time. They're all Turing computers. but this is a very limited computer, and the only way you could do more calculations is to have a columns, many columns, and on each tick of the clock, go and do more operations. And on the adjacent column, you can do some other operations. This is the only way you could have, you know, you could multiply bigger numbers or do other operations, add, move, and the but the operator had to be there and had to move the band, had to also punch the paper or make a mark to show that that operation was done. But then if we extend this to the event horizon surface, well, all the information that we know of is on this surface, okay? But then we are also left that there must be an operator outside of this surface, and this operator is the one that actually does the operation. And if it's the quantum computer, which means this operator did all the operations. So everything, all the memory, all the information is already on the event horizon surface. And then also we know that uh, our universe is the surface of a previous black hole that collapsed. But we can also see that in the center of our galaxy there is also another black hole, and that's probably another universe. But then we are stuck because there is no way that we can say that this is the only universe, which means we are always stuck we have to have an operator outside of this black hole that he has to write or do the operation on or this on this event horizon, which is necessitates an outside agency, an outside influence, or outside consciousness. Uh, well, but I mean, but this incomplete system also shows that it's possible that all the universes, all the information that could have happened in this universe can exist concurrently. This kind of explains that you could just like I was saying that I was having experience of past lives. This means that yes, the past life can exist concurrently with my life right now, and this is the concept of concurrency. This is kind of like an explanation similar to what Schrödinger did of the philosophy of something coming after you have the experience, that your mind tries to explain where the hell this came from. You know what I mean? Um, and well, then this brings us to the next concept that this, for example, this video that I'm filling out right now, it probably happened millions of times in different universes because this is endless. The cycles, they're endless, and they all exist concurrently in one form or another. Well, the Sufi master said that uh, the universe is very ancient, and many knowledges and many technologies, they are not really discovered. They are simply somebody rediscovers them. For example, I was watching the stuff that's beaming back from Mars, and I see that on the surface there's all these artifacts that they look like Indian temples, as if this is the same kind of guys. They were made the same temples in India and the ones on Mars. Or does it imply that whatever technology was there, it existed, and there exists like a stargate between these two planets? And then also it implies that these technologies, these bizarre technologies, they have existed for a very long time. Uh, well, I'm sure you're intrigued and a little bit tired of my rant about these ideas. I don't know where I will be going with them, but I'm making this video just as a record of my speculations about quantum physics and cosmology. Thank you very much for being in my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, leave comments. Don't keep me in dark. Thank you.